Hi, everyone. Welcome. It is 6 o'clock sharp on the Pacific time. So I want to go ahead and get started with everybody. First of all, introduce myself. My name is Terry Nauheim, and I'm the executive director for Otis College Extension. And I want to welcome all of you to our Summer of Art info session tonight. As you probably just heard, we are recording tonight's session, but since this is a webinar, participant information will not be included in that recording. Very excited to spend this hour with you to talk about Summer of Art, which is our pre-college immersive program, and we've been doing it for years, and it is an incredible program, and we have a lot to share with you tonight about it. I am joined by a few guests, including Una Proust, who works for the Extension Department, is an alum of Otis College, and who will be moderating tonight's session. You will notice that a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. If you have questions along the way, feel free to put those questions in there. We'll be answering some of those questions as we go, but we will be saving many of them for the end. We'll have about 10 to 15 minutes at the end for some Q&A. Another person that I have with me tonight is Melinda Patton, who is the Director of Residential Life, who's going to share with you some information about housing and some of the extra programming that takes place for those students who spend their time living at the campus during the program. And I have two of our faculty here tonight as well, including Mayuka Tai Nagasawa, who teaches in the Foundations Department at Otis College, as well as Summer of Art, and Laura London, who teaches photography for both the college and for Summer of Art. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just give you kind of a general introduction to the program. Spend a few minutes going over some of the higher level stuff, a little bit about the curriculum, and then I'll pass things over to Melinda, who will be going over a little bit more about housing. So first of all, our program this year is from July 5th to 31st, and it is designed specifically for high school students who are 14 and a half and up. While our program accepts students above high school age, 90% of the people attending are between the ages of 16 and 17. And whether you're really starting out in art and design or you're seeking to develop and strengthen existing skills, this program is for you. So to start out, and you could take a picture of this if you'd like, these are some kind of key dates. The first one is our early bird discount deadline, which is 10% off of each class that you register for. The deadline for that discount is Monday, April 29th. Our scholarship deadline is also Monday, April 29th. The program, those of you who would like to live at the college, the orientation for that and the move-in date is July 5th. Our orientation for the program is Saturday, July 6th, and the actual academic program kicks off on Monday, July 8th. It concludes on Wednesday, July 31st with our final exhibition, which I'll speak a little bit more about shortly. And then, of course, if you are in a dorm, your move-out date will be Thursday, August 1st. So to experience the full Summer of Art program as is designed, students typically will choose both a specialization and a drawing studio for the 4-week session. The specializations meet for 3 days per week, and the drawing studios meet for 2 days per week. Our classes all meet from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And to ensure that we have a personalized experience for students, we cap the maximum to 20 students per class. Upon successful completion of the full program, students receive 3 college credits. There are 2 college credits for the specialization and 1 for the drawing studio. There's also a non-credit option. You can opt to take the courses that way in the first week of the program. You can indicate that that is your preference. Though regardless of whether you experience the program for credit or not, all Summer of Art students are expected to do their best and to stay on track with the work. For those who cannot attend the full 5 days of the program, there is also the option to take just a 3-day specialization or a 2-day drawing studio course. And one of the strongest assets, the most amazing things about this program are those who teach the program. We have 2 amazing instructors with us tonight. Our instructors are professional working artists, working in the industry, and they are also experienced art educators, and many of them teach in the college's BFA and MFA programs. Our instructors are committed to you developing your skills and really platforming student success. They will have high expectations of you as creatives and really push you to produce your best work while you are here studying under them. Since the courses meet for full days and include a lot of studio time, you're going to really have the opportunity to immerse yourself and deeply explore all areas of art and design that you're here to study. Just to break it down a little bit, I'll talk about the drawing program first. Our drawing studios meet again for 2 days a week. We offer a few drawing options actually: beginning drawing, intermediate drawing, life drawing, and drawing from the costume model. The beginning drawing is essentially beginning drawing at the college level. So if you haven't had a drawing course before, we recommend that you start here, unless you're pursuing fashion, in which case you will take drawing from the costume model. In that course, you will delve into the fundamentals, and you'll including light and shadow, line, weight, foreshortening, perspective, all of the fundamental skills to begin with drawing. Intermediate drawing, you're going to learn a little bit more about tonight because of Mayuka Tai being here to talk about that, which is her expertise and what she's teaching in the program. Life drawing is another advanced course which goes into more in-depth drawing skills, which teaches from the live unclothed model. And again, the drawing from the costume model course is required for all fashion students. It may also be of interest for students who are interested in character design and other aspects of entertainment. It gets into fashion proportions and standard body proportions. If you need to kind of consider what option is best for you, just reach out to us and we can help guide you towards those choices. Okay. And these are our specializations. Our specializations are where you're going to choose kind of like a major, and you're going to delve deep into a discipline. So you can see we have anything from animation to illustration, fashion, graphic design, product and toy design, fine art, ceramics, game design, a lot of the expertises that you're going to find in the undergraduate majors at the college. Again, if you have specific questions about any of these specializations, feel free to drop questions in here at the Q&A, or you can always reach out to us after the fact, and we're happy to guide you through the curriculum and to make the best choice for you. So I want to just take a few minutes and kind of share some like inside the classroom and what things look like in a day-to-day experience at Summer of Art. So right here we're in Cole and a fashion design course. Okay. And students learn both production skills, fashion illustration, construction, business. of fashion is built in as well as drawing, as we mentioned, the drawing from the costume model. Okay, we have some for observational drawing and painting. I believe this is in Gala for our fine arts building. Or if our, this is life drawing. And I believe this is illustration or character design. I'm actually not sure which this is. Okay. And I mentioned that at the end of the curriculum, there is a final exhibition. The last day of the program is July 31st, and on that day from 2 to 4:30 p.m., we invite students invite their family and friends and the community at large to come and see an exhibition of the students' work. It's really a campus-wide event. It's a celebration and a chance to really share your results, students, with your new friends, your old friends, and really feel a sense of accomplishment and pride of all the work that you've done in this program. So just a couple of kind of snapshots of that final exhibition. It's really, having been to it myself, it's really incredible what our students produce in this program. You can see happy faces, but also you can see some incredible work hanging on the walls behind them. Okay, so I'm going to turn things over to Melinda Patton, Director of Residential Life, who's going to get into a little bit more about our on-campus housing program.
Thank you, Terry. I truly look forward to the final exhibition for Summer of Art. It's always incredible to see how much art they produce in 4 weeks. So I look forward to it every year. I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit more about the on-campus housing option. Um, Housing for the month is available for any Summer of Art student who is enrolled in the 5-day program. So that would be the drawing course and a specialization. Um, the most important dates, we've gone over them, but I'll say them again. Move in is Friday, July the 5th, and move out is Thursday, August 1st by noon. We do provide transportation to and from the airport, and there's a whole system to sign up and let us know when your flights are so we can go pick up your kids and bring them here and have them have a great month. Housing includes a lot of things for the month. So they'll be living in 2-bedroom suites. There'll be 2 students per bedroom per suite. The rooms are fully furnished. The linens will be included. That's bedding and towels. There's free laundry. And then it's a fun environment in housing. So every weekend they'll be going on a new field trip, just exploring LA. During the weekday, we have optional excursions that they can opt into. And then we have resident assistants who live in the building with your students, and they'll be putting on evening programs. So there's always a lot of activity and fun things for your students to do. As they make really good friendships as well. And not only do we put a roof over their head for the month, but those students will also have a meal plan. So they'll be provided 3 meals a day during the week and 2 meals a day on the weekend. And on top of that, we do have our medical and counseling center that's also available to housing residents when they live with us. We staff up pretty well during the summer for this program. We have 24 hours, 7-day a week campus safety office that's always available to students. And then we also have our resident assistants and professional staff who live in the building with your students. We do nightly bed checks and we have on call every evening and weekend so that someone's available for your students at all times. And I know that there is a question in the Q&A. and I'm gonna go ahead and quickly answer it. The question was if we're rooming with same gender. We do room with same gender. However, we have an option where students can request gender inclusive housing. And that is where students, although they're still separated by their birth sex, they if if they choose gender inclusive, then they can live with other students who also select gender inclusive, which just means they're very open to however you express your gender. But as far as your biological sex goes, all males will be in a suites together and all females will be in suites together. And then we'll try and pair as closely as possible the same gender preferences. Okay, next slide. So I said housing is a lot of fun and it is the weekend field trips. They are required. Some of the ones that we've taken students on in the past was the rooftop cinema in downtown LA, Paramount Studios tour. We usually do some type of theme park. I think we're trying to do Universal this year. It's not confirmed yet though. Santa Monica Beach, just a bunch of things that you could do in LA. And then the optional evening excursions are smaller groups of students, but we take them to places like Top Golf and Bolero. Um, and then, as I mentioned before, our resident assistants are actively doing programs as well on all other evenings. And then your students get out of class around 4:30 and they have free time. So we use a check-in, check-out system. So your students can explore, they can leave campus and they're expected to come back to campus by the 9:30 p.m. curfew. And then we also have a parent and family pickup option. We just have to have you all request it 24 to 72 hours in advance to pick up your kid. And for the COVID requirements, since that also got put in the chat, your students will be taking a COVID test upon move-in, and that is the only requirement. Next slide. And there's a lot of benefits to living in housing. It's okay if you can only do the commuter portion, but I highly recommend sending your student to enjoy the full experience of Summer of Art and living in. They're really truly getting a taste of that college experience. They are definitely in even a short 4 weeks building those adulting skills and learning a new level of independence. It's quite incredible to see with students. And they always leave with like the best lifelong friendships with other artists and designers as well. And they're just enjoying their days. They're enjoying exploring LA. And they also are surrounded by our resident assistants who are all current Otis students. So they really get kind of the inside scoop of what it would be like to attend Otis or attend an art design school. And I won't read it for you all, but you can read it on your own on the screen. But um, Mark Anthony Smith, he was one of our resident assistants. He was actually one of our lead resident assistants, but he was first introduced to Otis through the Summer of Art program. He actually did Summer of Art multiple summers in a row. And then he attended Otis, and then he became probably one of our greatest RAs of all time. So he truly, truly loved this program. And I think in his little testimony that he wrote, he called it transformational. And I truly do think it is a transformational experience when they have a moment to live on their own, gain some independence, gain friendships, and have a good time at the same time. So I do hope that y'all decide to send your kids to Summer of Art with housing. We take the best care of them and they have the best time. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Melinda. So if you guys have follow-up questions about this stuff, again, we will have some time at the end and we'll also have the contact details at the end too for follow-up. I also just related to did you want me to talk about the commuter?
I
activity?
can talk about it.
You, okay.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So since housing is like the hub of fun, we also do include commuter activities. So some of our weekday excursions will also be included for commuters. In the past, that's been the Getty and Bolero. And then we're also going to be inviting commuters out to one of our evening programs, most likely the one that takes place the last week. So there is opportunity for commuters and residents to join in on the fun together.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you again, Melinda. And I also wanted to make sure you were kind of considering the involvement of being at Otis College, at sort of the opportunity to really get kind of a test run of what it's like to be a student here. And we do really involve our admissions team in walking students through what it means to how to apply, what it means to go to Otis College, how to think about preparing your portfolio. So they will be involved. There will be some opportunities to meet with admissions counselors. And of course, if you do apply to Otis College, you'll have the opportunity, your application will be waived. Application fee will be waived. So I mentioned earlier the scholarship deadline. This is a little bit more information about, for those of you who would like to apply for a scholarship, what is required. So we ask for you to submit an application, which is available on the Summer of Art website. If you go to the scholarship portion of our website, you'll see a link directly to it. And then you'll also be taken to a separate place where you can upload the following things. We ask for a personal statement, a 10-piece portfolio, which should include 5 drawings and then 5 artworks of your choice. So, which is a pretty wide gamut to show a little bit more of your work outside of drawing, unless you want to include drawing too. We asked for an unofficial transcript, and the deadline again is April 29th for the scholarship application. Okay. So now I'd like to turn things over to our faculty. We are going to start with Mayuka Tai Nagasawa, who is teaching our intermediate drawing again this summer. So I'm going to stop my share so she can share her screen.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome, welcome. I am going to share my screen with you. Actually, there are some questions that I can already answer for everybody too. So let me just share this screen while, because I was going to answer those questions. So those are great questions. Okay, so can everybody see this? Here we go. So, questions. So what I'm going to just answer is I will go through my presentation, but I think it's important also to go through the question. It's because this is primarily for the studio. So yes, the studios and lab spaces are open during the work school hours. And I think there's summer hours that I think Summer of Art will let us know. And also students who are on campus, living on campus, will have a curfew. So they will be using, for example, my still life will be up for the students to draw from observation, because that is a requirement for my class, is to come back to the class after class to do their assignments. They cannot take a picture of the object and try it at home. That does not work. Let's see, skill level of incoming students. I think that will be something that Terry can answer. And how many of the summer instructors are also instructors in the undergraduate program? Many, including myself. So, and Laura, my name is Mayuka. I'm sorry, I just went right into this without explaining who I am. I'm an alum of Otis College of Art and Design. I'm very proud of being an alum. I teach through the BFA program. I teach life drawing, which is figure drawing. I also teach in the game and entertainment design, drawing for a game. And yes, I have been teaching Summer of Art for almost 10 years now. And I teach the intermediate drawing composition course. So, I'm just going to show, I prepared a presentation to show the flow of my program that I do, I teach. It is not a figure drawing class, although that is what I teach during the school year. So the class is set up, as you can see in the bottom middle image. There's a still life setup in the middle, and then we all have a drawing horse, which is a seat that we sit on to draw from. And the room is a little bit dim when they're drawing after I show the class a demo. Let's see this next slide. Okay, and then we're going to go into 1 and 2 point perspective studies using graphite. And we first start with drawing an apple. I just want to see where the students are in their journey of being an artist. And we practice 1 and 2 point perspective studies, and they do various exercises on the first day so that we understand what it means to block in an apple when it's underneath our eye level or above our eye level, or if it's on the right side or the left side. And they get to make their own little street corner using 2 point perspective, their own kind of imaginative room using 1 point perspective. And then after we understand how to draw the fundamentals using graphite, learning how to use graphite, learning how to draw like a college student, basically holding a pencil, not with your wrist, which only has a small range of motion, but actually using your whole arm to draw on a 18 by 24 paper. And graphite, we talk about what is the difference between an HB to 2H to B to a 6H. We talk about all of that. We talk about values, and then we segue into understanding form and composition, the graphic read or the visual flow of the narrative of the composition, because we're not just drawing a compositional objects, we're drawing actually a story of what you actually see in front of you. And you translate that onto a 2D form. And these are examples of students from 14-and-a-half-year-olds to 18-year-olds. As you can see, they're all beautiful. They're all studies of, so they see colorful objects in front of them, and they use the skills I teach them to draw this. And then the next class, we have a critique, their very first college level critique on what they need to fix on their drawing. So they always get to fix their drawing the next class and then their assignment while they're on to the next. And this is a skill building class. So it's hard if you're absent one day, because then you miss the whole 6 hours of demonstration and of demos and drawing practice and assignment. So it's really hard to miss a class, but I do my best if they miss a class to help them get up to speed. And then next we go into charcoal. So I do teach students different mediums that we use during the school year, which is all of the things that I'm actually showing right here. We again go back to the apple and see how do we draw apple on a toned paper. We tone the paper with powdered charcoal, and I teach the students how to mix charcoal plus baby powder to create this beautiful consistency that create this a really kind of this really soft charcoal instead of a really harsh charcoal. And these are student work. And the one on the right is actually done by a 14-and-a-half-year-old student who was in my class. Then we segue into, this is just before we will move into color. At Otis, when you are learning how to draw in a drawing, it's called drawing form now. It used to be called drawing composition, but the name's changed. The first semester is all about, monochromatic work. And the second semester is all about color. So, you got to hold back on using the color, but in Summer of Art, we get to use everything. But we still have to go with the flow, understanding light logic and the values. And this is one of my favorite things to teach, which is teaching them how to see. Art is really about, drawing is all about really learning how to see things that's in front of you. And how do we translate that onto our paper? And this is instead of using a white paper, the students are going to choose a navy blue or brown or a black paper, and I teach them how to draw cylinders. Of course, we go from shapes to forms, and this is based off of a cylinder and probably some blocking, and then they draw their bottle on the paper, and then they do not outline the bottle itself. They actually use a white pencil to draw the reflection of the light, and then that creates the illusion of this a 3D form on their paper. And then we go into oil pastels. So each assignment, so for example, this is more like a class assignment. This is actually an assignment, and Apple is more of a study first, and this is an assignment, and then these are all studies. So they always have a study before they go into an actual composition, so they are prepared to draw a composition. So as you can see, the fruits and vegetables on the side, on the left. Now we got to go into a gray paper, and learn how to draw the fruits and vegetables and use oil pastels and learn color theory and complementary color. So for example, if you're going to draw a pear, we're going to start off with the purple because the purple's complementary is yellow. And when you mix the two, it creates the brown of the shadow of the pear. So we talk about those things. And then at the end of this project, their composition is they choose 5 objects, always odd numbers, and to create their own composition. Of course, they have to find the space. Every week I change the objects to match the project that we are doing for their assignment. So they get to choose where they're going to sit. And then this is a fun project. So this is a culmination of everything that they learned in my class. And this is like more of a personal project where they get to grid their portrait on a large paper. However, the paper cannot be white. It has to be certain types of colors, because they're going to use color pencils to create the illusion of basically skin and colors, and they can become who they want to be. So it's kind of like a Halloween on a page, but they get to, and it has to be an expression, a different kind of expression. It can't just be a smile. They need to express themselves, and this is their final project. And when they see this, they love it. And this was the project we did a while back when the students were just in love with Harry Potter, and that was the thing that the class actually decided on. So I said, okay, let's do Harry Potter, but you can also have your own take. And if you want to do Stranger Things, you like E.T., it doesn't have to be, it can be fantasy, it can be something creative, but they get to utilize all the skills that they used up until this point and to draw their portrait. These are all 18 by 24 paper pieces. And then this is like the demo that I show. For example, there's the observation that I'm seeing the shoe on the left hand corner, left corner. And in the bottom is a drawing. It's really small, probably just like a really small image. But it's called a thumbnail sketch. They'll sketch out what they see, and then they will transfer that drawing onto a larger paper. And then we talk about light logic and blocking out the lights in the darks, and then we layer the colors over to create a piece. And they learn how to create a border around the paper so that they don't have to frame the border, the blue tape. When you tear that off, then it becomes a natural a frame around the page. So when it's presented, it looks really nice. And then this is kind of how the setup of the show would look like, depending on the room that we get this time. And if I have the time. And then this is also our audiences, parents who come and see their work. And it's really, I just love teaching summer of art. That's why I always say I always write summer of art. I really want to teach this summer. It's such a great energy. As Mark Anthony, he was my student in life drawing, so I know him. And what a great energy that we get. And it's like a full month of this energy. And yes, the students will have to come to class after school or on the weekends if they're staying on campus to work on their studies. But that's when they create networking, then they become friends. And it's at the end, they're all kind of best friends. And I don't know if we have the time, but there is a video, and I can fast forward this if I can move this panel. Yeah, there we go. So this is kind of like how the flow of the class would be, the setup, and you can see their journey through the program of basically 7 classes. And then that's the end. And then this is how the student would sit and draw. And that's it. Thank you very much. I hope you come. Your children can come.
Thank you so much, Mayuka. Your students' work is always so inspiring. Really great to see. Okay, so next I'd like to introduce Laura London, who will be talking about our photography specialization.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And I'll do a short introduction and you can read the bio on your own. But I also teach in the foundation department at Otis, and I teach in the extension department. And foundation, I'm in the 2D area. So I saw the question that asked if we were in the BFA program. And like Mayuka said, the first semester, it's changing next year, but it was dealing with black and white principles of design, and the second semester connections through color. But I think it's going to be called color and design next year. So I do integrate. We all sort of teach the same program, but we are allowed to bring our specialization in. So I do bring photography into my classes during the school year. And then I teach photography, intro to photography, and the extension department. And I have taught a final portfolio, which is more of an independent study course. And the Summer of Art class is pretty much developed from when I've taught photography in a day program college setting. It was a long time ago when I started at Otis in communications, and it was an area called photographics. And it's pretty much like what you would get for, a full semester into the Summer of Art 1 month program. So I'll just introduce myself. I have an MFA from California Institute of the Arts and a BFA from University of Arizona, Tucson. And so I like to tell people that I was formerly classically trained as a film photographer, but of course I use digital now, and it's another tool which I love. And my students can work in film and or digital and or a combination of both. I don't know if anyone has visited the campus, but they have a great photo lab and studio on campus, and the students love, in the Summer of Art program, they love working in the lab and in the studio. And I put a link at the end of the presentation so I can show you. And I guess I'll just say one more thing. An artist working in the medium of photography and video and based in Southern California. And you can read the bio. I'll jump right into it like Mayuka. And if you want to read about exhibitions, etc. So here are some examples of my students' work. I do give a program, an introduction. It's a combination of formal elements and conceptual ideas. I do give the students assignments, but I also allow them to work on a personal project because the students always come in as a mixed level. So it doesn't even really matter if it's beginning, intermediate, advanced. It just seems like students come in with their own level of understanding, whether it's Adobe, Photoshop. They have many, many programs there, and there are a lot of techs in the lab as well. So there's a lot of assistance for the students, or some of the students have used film before. There is equipment to check out at the lab. I think the policy is that if you check it out in the morning, you can use it for the full day, but I would have to check what time it had to be in, or if you check it out on a Friday, you return it on a Monday. So you can have your own equipment, but you can also come in without having your own equipment and use the equipment they have for the students. So I'll just start here. So this was a student I had 2022, and she did all the assignments, but then she ended up focusing on her heritage and identity, and she did a documentary project at Manzanar, and it was a really beautiful project. And this is one of the images here, and they were printed. You can print very large scale. You can print small to large. I think last year we just said the budget. You put a budget in the OWL dollars. Maybe Terry can talk about that at the end or something, but it's very, very affordable. So if you were on more of a stricter budget, I think we said it was $20 for 10 8x10s. But if you wanted to spend more money, I think we put the range 20 to 75 for the prints for the show. You can print very, very large on all different types of paper, surface paper. So that's in the digital darkroom. And they also have a film darkroom, which is really, great because a lot of colleges don't have that anymore. And Otis has like both. And then they have a full studio with all types of lighting, which the students, they wanted to, once we went in there for one day, they wanted to go in longer, but we couldn't because it's just for 1 month, but they got a taste of it. So they really, really enjoyed that work as well. And then in 2022, we went to the Getty on a field trip. And this is one of the images from when a different student took in the garden there. So the landscape. And that was also fairly large print. And so one of the assignments I give, first assignments is called View of LA Time of Day, where they learn about seeing light at different times of day. And so they are encouraged to check out the camera and walk around. And this is obviously on the campus in a drawing class and take, photographs. We also teach them to combine film and digital. So to start with shooting film and then scanning and then making archival digital prints. So they really do have a choice. They can pick what format to work in, but it's available if they're interested. So it's really up to them at this point. And this was another student that this was a college age student, but she was very close to the college prep age students. And like everyone was saying, they formed really close friendships and they would photograph together and get together for the events. So I thought that was really fun. And this was an urban landscape, which is also another assignment given, taken at dusk with artificial and natural light. So we learned a lot about lighting, different times of day, indoor lighting, outdoor lighting, different color temperatures, how to, expose and compose a beautiful formal image compositionally, and then how to bring in your own ideas and personalize the work. This was another student and doing a self-portrait. And there's also a motion assignment where they learned how to create motion, freeze motion, do a time exposure, which some of you have probably seen. It's very popular for commercials where people are moving lights. I'm sure everyone's seen it, or there's like cars moving or people are drawing with light. So it's kind of like an experimental drawing technique. And we do that in daylight and we do that in the studio. This student created motion and did a self-portrait all in one. And I did have an adult student who was actually a very accomplished interior designer, and I found her work very interesting. This is a digital proof sheet. A proof sheet are small images of all the different frames that you took, and so we do that in Photoshop, what can also be done in the darkroom. And I loved her color harmony and some of the complementary colors going on in her work. So I chose to show sort of this digital proof sheet of her work. And it was actually, you might think, well, how is it to mix the different ages? And actually, I think it went really well. And they all learned a lot from each other. And so it wasn't awkward at all. So I just want to throw that out there. So it was like 85% college prep. And then I had the one college student and then the older lady that was an interior designer going back to school to learn photography. So this is a photo I took of 3 of the students that became good friends at the Getty on our field trip. And then this was my group at the Getty on the field trip. And then I have a short video here. That was sort of the wall. So we're all given a space where to install the work, and it's print only, which is done in the lab. And there's a lot of assistance. There's a lot of one-on-one and group teaching. And besides the studio time and the lab time, there is also group critique. So they'll get feedback, constructive criticism, and then we go through the process of creating the exhibition. So creating the work, editing the work, installing the work, and they learn how to write an elevator speech and an artist statement, and we make an image list and we make the labels just like you would see in a gallery or a museum. And I have a video, short video. Okay, and I will quickly show you 2023. So that was 2022. And then I have 2023. And this group was all college age. I think this was inspired by the view of LA. And this is, I don't know if anyone knows this location. It's in, I think it's in North Hollywood. It's a vintage building with the neon signage. And she did a series of this building. Is anyone familiar? It's kind of a historic neon sign. And so I really liked the nostalgic quality. She chose to print it dark. And this one was done in Adobe Photoshop. They also use Lightroom and Camera Raw for editing. And this was colored part of it for the graffiti wall. And here was another photograph from the same location, and I loved it and encouraged the student to include it because it actually looked like a vintage photograph from the era of the building. So I just thought it was great. And this was maybe my youngest student, so I was kind of impressed with that, her work. And this was one of the time exposure assignments that we did in the studio. They have many different types of lighting, and we go through a demo, and then they give a demo for everything, how to use things, and also for safety reasons. The students love working in the studio doing this assignment, and they model for each other. And so they get a chance to direct each other. So they have a chance to explore different types of photography, whether it's, fine art, or they're more interested in fashion or commercial photography or photojournalism. They can really explore all of their interests. Okay, so this student, this was the only picture they took for the show in LA. They had gone to Iceland, but I thought it looked like a postcard, so I really liked the way it came out, the way it was executed. So they were printing a lot of the photographs from Iceland. And I'd say most of the work last year was kind of small to mid-range. Nobody has really taken advantage of the large scale, but they have very large printers. And I don't know if can the students go and like take a tour, but you might want to look at the darkroom. I put a link at the end because it is very impressive what's available to you, in the summer of art program, like college level and professional lab equipment. And this was also taken in Iceland and this one as well. So we do get students from all over the world and also that have traveled. So I think it's very interesting for them to meet each other. And then this was one of my more advanced students who wants to be an architect. That was in my photography class last year. And he chose to go into urban areas and photograph historic buildings in different areas of Los Angeles. So this was in downtown LA. And these were all about like 16 by 20, sort of formally composed and executed and printed. And that one was in color. This one was in black and white. So on Broadway, where the historic theaters are downtown. And then he also shot on the West Side. So in Santa Monica, in Venice, and then Mid-City, the Wiltern. So I found the work to be very engaging and strong and to be aligned with his interest in architecture. And this was at the Mack Center.
Excuse me, Laura. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of the time because we do have some questions. So we'll have to wrap up in the last minute.
Okay, so I'll just scroll through this, the last student.
Okay.
And do you want me to play the video? It's like 30 seconds or not?
Yeah, play the 30-second video. Absolutely.
Okay, okay. This is the final exhibition from last year. Thank you so much. I hope to see you for Summer of Art.
Thank
And I
you.
will stop the share.
Thank you, Laura. So I'm going to go ahead and go right to our questions. And while I do that, I'll go over to our contact information so that if you do have additional questions past what we have time for today, you can feel free to reach out to us either directly the Summer of Art team for questions about the program, or if you have questions about housing, you can reach out to, we have housing's email and phone number here as well. So Una, do you want to take us through what remaining questions we have?
Yeah, so our first question is how much sewing experience is needed for the fashion class and how will you accommodate all different levels of sewing skill?
Nice. Okay. So really the or the fashion program requires no prior knowledge. So the answer to that question is you don't need to have any skill coming into the program. While we do have some folks who come in with some and have the opportunity to maybe advance a little further.
Next question is from Bridget. Are students able to use studio lab space during free time to work on projects, or is that discouraged? I think Mayuka might have touched on this a bit, but if there's
Yeah.
anything else you want to add.
No, I think Mayuka answered the question perfectly. We do build in some extra studio time, and that is built into Mayuka's curriculum as well as some of the other instructors who are teaching drawing. But then there's also a curfew. So just to reiterate what Mayuka said already. Did I get all that right, Mayuka? Yeah, awesome.
Margot's asking, what is the typical skill level of incoming students in their specialization area?
That is a great question. I'm going to say there's quite a range coming into this program, and the program is really designed for all levels. So if you have none, you're starting out, we encourage you to spend to apply for the program. But if you do have some more advanced skills, our instructors have developed a curriculum where there's room to it, for a range of skill set. Of course, it depends on certain classes. Like as we talked about in the beginning, we have some courses that are really geared towards beginners versus intermediate. So, it depends on specific classes such as intermediate drawing, where we do need to see some beginning skills before just advancing into the class. So, but there is quite a range.
Then if applying for a scholarship, should you register before or after applying?
That is such a good question. You do not need to register for the program if you're applying for a scholarship. We will actually register you manually once you are accepted for a scholarship. If you are not accepted, you can feel free to register if you choose to. Just after the fact. We will be making decisions and getting back to people on the scholarship decisions mid-May.
For portfolio application, is it okay to submit animations, and what are time-based projects?
Yeah, I like that question. The answer is yes, you can submit animation, and time-based work is really just anything that's not static. So it could be animation, it could be motion graphics, video, anything moving.
Can you share a little bit more about the fashion design class and what the class would look like?
Yeah, I'll give just kind of a general overview of the fashion class. It includes really kind of the full arc of fashion production at a beginning to intermediate level. So you're going to do drawing, sketching, illustration, pattern and draping, sewing, and then you're going to be doing a final project. So, and if you want more information, please reach out to us at the SOA email or phone number, and we can give you a little bit more in-depth information about the curriculum.
Can you talk about how how the commuter program would work?
Yeah, so if you are not participating in housing, you're basically going to commute on a daily basis to your courses. You have the option to either do a 2-day or 3-day curriculum, or you can take the full 5 days. We encourage you to make use of housing if you are doing the full 5 days, though. But you otherwise, you are welcome to commute day by day. And there's
Will
free parking, I should mention. That's a nice little perk.
will any of the future information sessions focus on other programs not covered
yeah.
today, or would it be information about the same programs?
Thank you for asking. And I should have said that in the beginning. Absolutely. We will be bringing in different instructors each information session to focus in on different aspects of the curriculum. So you can feel free to come back and you'll have some other kind of deep dives into some of the specializations and other aspects of drawing.
Can you give an overview of the character design class and what it would look like?
Okay. I am going to do a quick okay. I'm familiarizing myself with that syllabus. I've seen the finished work, but I want to kind of give you as accurate information as possible. That class is really for entertainment design, so specifically animation, illustration. It relates to too. You're really focusing on kind of the concept drawing that serves typically animation. So you go pretty deep into drawing specifically to a character, which involves storytelling and really building out, every aspect of that character. And, that also includes getting more deep into concept development and storytelling itself. I'll say the same thing about the question for fashion design. If you want a little bit more in-depth knowledge into what that course is about, we'd be happy to spend some more time on the phone or through email giving you more details on that curriculum.
And that's the last question for now. If anyone else has any more questions, feel free to add them to the Q&A.
Yes, absolutely. And we can also unmute you if you prefer to ask the question verbally. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for taking this hour with us. I loved your questions. I see we have some serious artists and designers in the room. Feel free to reach out to us at any time with any other follow-up questions. We want to make sure that you have everything you need to make an informed decision. Thank you to Mayuka and Laura for joining us tonight to talk about their curriculum, and great to have you, Melinda, to get deeper into the housing and extracurricular activities. So thank you, Una, and I hope you guys have a great night.